Hello, and welcome back to our storybook journey. Today, we're re-diving into a timeless tale that has captured hearts for generations, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's a story about a princess with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony, whose kindness shines brighter than any jewel in the kingdom. But this light casts a dark shadow of jealousy from someone who should have loved her most. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, lived a beautiful but vain queen. Every day, she would consult her magic mirror, asking, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And every day, the mirror would reply, "You, my queen, are the fairest one of all." This pleased the queen, as she could not stand for anyone to surpass her in beauty. However, as the years passed, her stepdaughter, Princess Snow White, grew into a young woman of breathtaking beauty and, more importantly, immense kindness. One fateful day, the queen asked her mirror the usual question, but this time the answer was different. The mirror declared, "My queen, you are fair, it is true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you." Consumed by a furious jealousy, the queen's heart turned to darkness. She could no longer bear the sight of Snow White. She summoned her loyal huntsman and gave him a terrible order: to take Snow White deep into the forest and never let her return. The huntsman, though sworn to obey, had a good heart. When he led Snow White into the woods, he couldn't bring himself to harm the innocent princess. With tears in his eyes, he warned her of the queen's wicked plan and urged her to run, to flee deep into the forest and never look back. Terrified, Snow White ran as fast as she could, thorns tearing at her dress and strange shadows dancing all around her. The forest, which had once seemed so lovely, now felt like a terrifying maze. Exhausted and scared, she finally stumbled into a small clearing. There, nestled among the trees, was a tiny, charming cottage. It looked like something out of a fairy tale itself. Cautiously, she knocked, but there was no answer. The door was unlocked, so she peeked inside. Everything was miniature. 7 tiny chairs, 7 tiny plates, and upstairs, 7 tiny beds. The cottage was a bit of a mess, so Snow White, with her kind and helpful nature, decided to tidy up. She swept the floor, washed the dishes, and made everything neat and clean. After all her hard work, she felt so sleepy that she lay down across the 7 little beds and quickly fell into a deep sleep. Later that evening, the owners of the cottage returned home. They were the 7 dwarfs, who worked all day in the nearby diamond mines. Their names were Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and of course, Dopey. Imagine their surprise when they walked in to find their home sparkling clean and a beautiful princess asleep in their beds. At first, they were startled. But when Snow White woke up and told them her sad story, their hearts softened. They felt sorry for her and, charmed by her sweetness, they invited her to stay with them. "You can cook and clean for us," said Doc, "and in return, we'll keep you safe from the wicked queen." Snow White gratefully accepted. A new, happy life began for Snow White. She kept the cottage spotless and cooked delicious meals for the dwarfs, who grew to love her like a sister. Each morning they would march off to the mines, singing "Ale, ale! It's off to work we go!" And each evening they would return to Snow White's warm welcome. For a while, it seemed that she had truly found a safe haven. But back at the castle, the queen soon discovered she had been tricked. Her magic mirror revealed the truth. Over the 7 jeweled hills, beyond the 7th fall. In the cottage of the 7 dwarfs, Snow White is the fairest of them all. The queen was enraged. She realized that if she wanted Snow White gone, she would have to do it herself. Using dark magic, she disguised herself as an old peddler woman, selling wares. She then crafted her most wicked creation yet, a beautiful, shiny red apple. perfect on one side, but poisoned on the other. A single bite would send the eater into a sleep-like death, a slumber so deep that only love's first kiss could break the spell. With the poisoned apple in her basket, the disguised queen traveled to the dwarf's cottage. Snow White, warned by the dwarfs to be wary of strangers, was hesitant at first. But the old woman seemed so harmless, and the apple looked so delicious. The queen offered it as a gift, a wishing apple. To prove it was safe, she took a bite from the harmless side. Convinced, Snow White took a bite from the poised red side. Instantly, the poison took effect, and she fell to the floor in a death-like sleep. The queen, cackling with glee, had finally succeeded. When the dwarfs returned home, they found Snow White lifeless on the floor. Their hearts were broken. They cried all night, unable to accept that their beloved princess was gone. She was so beautiful, even in her sleep, that they couldn't bear to bury her. Instead, they built a coffin of glass and gold, placed her inside, and kept a constant watch over her. One day, a handsome prince from a neighboring kingdom was riding through the forest and came upon the glass coffin. He was mesmerized by the beauty of the sleeping princess. He had heard tales of a princess with skin as white as snow and lips as red as blood, and he knew instantly it was her. Overcome with sadness and love, he leaned down and gave her a gentle kiss. Instantly, the spell was broken. Snow White's eyes fluttered open. She was alive. The dwarves rejoiced, and the prince, overjoyed, asked Snow White to be his bride. She happily agreed. They returned to his kingdom, where they were married and lived happily ever after. And as for the wicked queen, some say her own rage and evil consumed her, but one thing is certain, her reign of jealousy was over, and kindness and love had triumphed in the end. And that's the story of Snow White, a beautiful reminder that true fairness comes from a kind heart, not just a reflection in a mirror. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for another enchanting tale. Don't forget to like and subscribe.